Hey guys, Joe here. It's been been a minute. I tried doing that recording the other day, but I think because where I was driving, it was dropping off. But this seems to work well. It's when I'm waiting for my son to get done his stuff. So I didn't really have any plans for this. Honestly, I guess I'll go through like what I've been working on in case someone pops up, um, and then go from there. So what I decided to do is we end up hiring. I was trying to find. So the way our sales process works, which if you know me, like you probably know this already. Hey, whoever's on here, if you have questions, just ask away. Otherwise, I'm going to just be talking about my like what changes I've made within my business. But so what I end up doing is so we normally give ballparks over the phone, and then we give a uh, once we do that, we charge $75 for a consultation fee and do that. But what I was noticing is we're spending a lot of time, or the salesperson's spending a lot of time with figuring out where this person wants the fence, right? So it takes us like 5 minutes to do it if everything goes well. But then if we email it to the customer, like, no, I really want it here, I wanted this or that or whatever, it ends up turning into another 5, 10, 15 minutes. And during the peak season, we're getting like 50 and 80 phone calls a day. And as of right now, I just have one salesperson. So to answer 50 to 80 phone calls a day and have to do the maps and all that shit on top of it just doesn't make sense. So what I am doing, what I tried doing, is finding someone that wanted to work. I had some friends and stuff like that that seemed like they wanted to work. For the people that are going on here, if you have questions, just ask away. Otherwise, I'm just talking about my business and like changes I made recently. So anyway, so what we end up doing is I tried finding other people, but no one friggin' wants to work because you're still getting free money on unemployment. Speaking of which, I have someone that's on unemployment for like a year and they just got renewed for another year. We're fighting it now, but she only worked for me for a year. How do you get unemployment for 2 fucking years if you've only worked one? It's ridiculous, right? So anyway, I couldn't find anyone. So my buddy Dave down in Florida said before he was using VAs from the Philippines. So I'm like, let me give this a shot. What the hell? So I end up hiring. Before I was going to just hire one person. Instead, I hired three. Why? They're $6 an hour, and like the first guy I talked to, and they're so nice. Obviously, everyone's nice on the interviews, but basically, what ended up happening is I said, is $6 okay? And he's like, yeah, pretty much. I'm like, well, what do you mean by pretty much? And he starts smiling. He's like, well, the last place was paying me $4 an hour, so this is great. Like he's making 50% more. So anyway, I had three people. The reason why I'm doing that, one person has experience in social media, which we haven't been doing as consistently as we should. So they're going to be answering phone calls and social media. The other two people, they're very fluent in English. They don't really have an accent whatsoever. Just going through email communications that we had, no problem whatsoever. So yeah, one's doing social media, one's going to be doing the contact forms, and another one we're going to end up putting a chat bot on the website as well. And then all three answering the phone call. So between having 50 and 80 phone calls a day, we have these three people that are basically going to get the main questions that we need to ask. Like when are you looking to install a fence? If they're just curious about installing a fence, we're just sending them a link to My Salesman to get them out of our way as soon as we can. Because if you're just curious, like you're not getting a fence anytime soon. Let's be honest. So then they'll basically ask the questions, figure out where they want the fence. They will email it to the customer. Once everything's squared away, they'll basically put them in the queue on the calls for that day, or if they want to reschedule for another day and time, that's what we're doing with that. So in total, we have three people doing that, one main salesperson. The one person that does the social media, she actually has a background in sales, and actually the other person has a background in sales as well, but she's super ambitious. So I have a sales trainer. I don't if you guys haven't heard about that before, but I have this one sales trainer that's basically just doing one-on-one coaching with my one person. I'm paying $5 grand a month right now, which is going to be too busy for her to get on. So now he's going to transition into onboarding all these people. So we're doing that Thursday is their first meeting. I just sent them all like the fence buying guide. I had made videos for my other salesperson, basically answering pretty much every question. And honestly, I can post that stuff onto my YouTube channel for potential customers because it's basically training them on how to buy a fence as well. So this should work out really, really well. Couple that with, I talked about before, but we have the city pages, right? Talked about this in the SEO stuff as well. But I have, if you didn't watch the other videos, what happens a lot of times while you're not showing up on Google My Business and just the regular Google search is it comes down to a lot of times with your city pages. Most people don't have city pages. And then if you do, there's only like 4 to 6 signals that basically tell Google that you show up. And the signals basically, if you're typing in like Kansas City fence installation, right? Having Kansas City fence installation is like a signal, right? And then if you had pictures of vinyl fence, you did like vinyl fence installations in Kansas City, that would be a second signal. What I typically see from most companies is you might have like at most 6 to 10. At the 10, not even really, but 6. Except for places like Superior Fence of Rail, those will have like 30. Well, what we're doing, it's teaming up with another guy, and it's more of like an AI technology, but it's going to end up giving me like 100+ signals per page, right? And because I'm crazy, I end up doing 157 or 159 city pages. So all said and done, 157, 159 times 100 signals, we're looking at like 16,000 signals, basically telling Google that I should be showing up. So that 50 to 80 leads a day that I was getting for peak season last year, more than likely is probably going to be like 100 to 200 leads a day this year. Some brief background on the results I've had with my because of the sales trainer. So a lot of people are scared to invest in themselves, right? And $5,000 a month is like a ridiculous sum. And even for me, I'm like, fuck, like, is this really worth it? Yeah, it is. So why do I say that? One, before you spend money with people, you have to have an idea of like what numbers you're actually hitting, whatever you're hiring for. And like what I talked to someone, who the hell was I talking to? I forget who I was talking to. But like another thing to be careful of is 2 things. One, you need to know your numbers beforehand. So if you're going with a sales trainer, like I need to know what my sales numbers were before. Like what is the number of consultations that we're booking? Like what was the percentage? What was the sales closing percent? Like all that stuff. You should know that stuff, right? Same thing if you hire someone for like Google My Business, SEO, like that kind of stuff. Like you should have your analytics hooked up, right? How many people are coming to your website? Where are they coming from? That kind of thing. If you don't know that and you hire someone, there's no way to track what the hell they're doing. I keep on seeing post after post that people aren't getting the results they want from these companies. And honestly, now more than ever, the main business, an online business, is basically going after people like you in order to go on Google My Business, SEO, and that kind of shit, because it's the thing to do. Like it's easy to charge a minimum of 500, but typically 1,000, 1,500, 2,500, or even more. These people have no idea what the hell they're doing. They're literally watching videos on YouTube, taking courses off of some guy, and then they're just doing it. They have no experience, and you guys are just trusting them, which makes no sense to me. But they have like the problem is these companies build in like pitch decks and everything else, so it's very easy to sell you. And at the end of the day, they're promising you the world, but they don't even know what the hell they're doing. So anyway, so what numbers did we come up with? So far this month, actually last week, right? Listen to this. So last year in February, our total profit, again, I don't even know what our sales numbers are, to be honest, I have no idea. I know what a profit is, right? For last year, the total profit for the month was like $31,000. Our profit for last week was $28,000 in 1 week. So for the month, but I didn't include the numbers. Today was another $6,000 in gross profit that we brought in. So we should be at like 41. So we are. Oh, I'm sorry. My number was 24 last year in February. Now it's closer to 40-ish. So anyway, and we still have a few days left. So I spent 5,000 and returned like I've made over 20 more, and we're not even done yet, right? So that's crazy part. Plus he's helping to onboard all these people. So anyway, the people that are on here, if you have questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm just talking about shit I'm doing. So anyway, that's the plan. So I'm super excited about what's going to end up happening when we start bringing all these VAs and everything else, plus when we get them trained for the other positions. The other thing I've been looking at is right now I have a warehouse like 10,000 square feet and I pay like nothing. It's like 2,500 a month, which is nothing. We were going to take over another space in that building so that way we have a dedicated, basically we had the whole side, which would give us additional parking. Plus there was bathrooms that this warehouse didn't have, and then office space and everything else. But the more and more I look, that was going to cost me $5,000 a month. But the more and more I look, we're going to end up probably buying a location this year. I found some places that are right off of Delsea, which is has a lot of traffic. Apparently, the numbers are somewhere in the like 20,000 cars a day kind of traffic. And for whatever reason, I keep on looking at different ways to have more leads, and I don't need more leads. Like I just don't, but whatever. The other thing we started is I talked about this in other videos, and I brought it in this email campaign that I've been doing. So if you're not signed up with the email campaign, you can find the link in my YouTube videos or something, but you can get in there. It's just other stuff I go into. So the whole goal, instead of trying to get more leads, is how do I like provide more value, right? Because at the end of the day, I want literally the experience to be so good that the people have to tell their friends and family. Like they literally, they have to. Okay. Not because I want them, but they just are gonna be like, wow, beyond belief. So what we started is I bought the Yeti mugs back in December. I never even did anything with them, which is dumb. But all the people that booked their jobs last week, which was 10 jobs that we booked last week, which is nuts for February in like New Jersey, with no discounts, is we did the Yeti mugs. So what I end up doing is little custom cards says, you know, thanks, hey, Robin, I really appreciate it, blah, blah, blah. You know, enjoy this Yeti mug with your favorite beverage, right? So I got the these boxes from Uline. I got the crinkled paper, lime green, because I like lime green. Basically threw that in there, put the mug in there. I should have taken a video, but I didn't. So I did that, packaged it up, all looks pretty good. But then what I had come in that make it even a little bit of a nicer product, and I'll take pictures tomorrow when it comes in, is it's custom packaging tape, but it's like that craft paper shit. You know, it's like the paper tape that tears apart easily and all that kind of stuff, but it's actually custom. I bought it from stickermule.com, and it's actually pretty damn cheap. So it basically has my same thing. It's lime green, and then in my logo is in black, and then it basically says "Welcome to the family." To the Deptford family. That's one roll I got. That's like 300 feet long. And then I got another, or I got two of them. But then the other one says same thing. It's the logo in lime green, and then it says a big thank you on there. So that's going to be what covers the boxes instead. And then to take it even a step further, like we're just doing that. And I did just buy more Yeti mugs. Like I literally spent $3,300 in Yeti mugs, right? And that's only 90. So we got them in black. That's what we have now, but we got another set in black, 30 of them in black, 30 in pink, and 30 in the seafoam green. Speaking of which, I thought I grabbed my coffee, but I grabbed water, which sucks. But I feel like I'm talking pretty quick, so you probably don't. I don't need much more coffee. So anyway, so what we're doing in a step further, because everything's about momentum, right? Like you just got to start something, right? So what we're going to start doing is finding more about these customers. Like, do they have kids? Do they have pets? And that would come from the main process of like, why are you getting the fence? Like, is it for kids? It's for dogs? Like it looks, whatever. But if they have kids, dogs, whatever, what we're going to end up starting doing is customizing these packages, especially for these people. So if they have dogs, well, maybe we do the tennis ball. Maybe we do bandanas. I talked to another Mo down in Florida that is doing bandanas for the dogs, and people absolutely love them. So we're going to do something like that. Now, if they have kids, we're probably doing Frisbee, stuff like that. The other thing I saw is, I don't know if people have seen it. It's a game that it's basically made out of PVC pipe. It's basically just a stand. It's got a, basically a base at the bottom, stick that goes on top, and the water bottle goes there. And basically you just throw the Frisbee back and forth and knock it off, and the person gets points. Well, we're going to end up customizing that, all that, basically send them a Frisbee, send them the whole kit, right? So we're going to have everything pre-cut. They basically just push it all together and then you're good to go, right? or get the style like the ends that screw on. So it's going to be a little bit more expensive. What's going to end up happening is I'm probably going to spend probably closer to about $100 per customer. And most people think I'm crazy for doing something like this. Like I haven't even told my wife because she would just start flipping the fuck out. $100 per customer, like it's crazy. Like I'm gonna end up spending like $40,000 and $50,000 on customers this year. But you tell me, like if you like signed up with someone, they found that you had kids or a dog or whatever else, and lo and behold, you get a thank you gift that has like a Yeti mug. It has like, and you have kids, so it's got a frisbee. It's got this whole kit you put it together so you can play with your kids, right? Every time you play with your kids, you're going to be thinking about that. Every time you use this Yeti mug with the logo, you're going to be thinking about that stuff. Like, tell me, like there's no way they're not going to say something. Like they're going to have to, right? So that's what we're going to be doing. So that'll be in the works. But at this point, again, it's just about doing something. So we're going to consistently do this for a month or so. And then we're going to start working into the higher end like gifts and stuff because, and where's this money coming from, right? Last year, I spent $90,000 on advertising between Google, Facebook, you name it, Nextdoor, shit like that. I'm just stopping it all, like literally all of it. I'm gonna get rid of it all. I'm gonna save myself like $40,000. I'm gonna give shit to people that they really, really enjoy, and it's gonna be nuts. So between this is like if you can imagine this, right? We did 2 million in sales last year. Okay. Now, on top of that, we are drastically improving our sales process and our closing rate and all that kind of stuff. So that alone, and we closed at 8. If you watched my videos, like we were closing at 8% last year. Should easily get to 15% with working with a trainer and everything else. That'll easily get us to $4 million. Now, couple that with these care packages. And then you put on top of this even more leads I'm generating because of like the city pages and everything else. What I personally see happening for the company is, again, we've been stagnant at 2 million for like the last 2.5, 3 years because I haven't been focused enough. And I decided I'm not doing that shit anymore. So now should easily go from 2 to 4 million this year. Next year, at least, basically for the next 2 years, I should easily add another $2 million per year in business, I would think. Easily. And at this point, basically anything above 2 million is basically like 25% net profit for myself. So it could be substantial. But then what that's going to allow us to do is bring in more and more people and basically run the business. Again, with these, the VAs, I think that's going to be a huge deal. Having 3 additional people to answer the phone calls, the contact forms, the social media, and then the chatbot on the website itself. Like we're legit the Amazon of the fence industry. So the only thing I have to do now is it's really just bringing. It's probably just bringing in more more sub crews to install. Like that's really all we need at this point. We already talked to one. We have one that's coming in for like the weekends and whatnot. And then my sub that's already using me, more than likely, they're adding another crew as well because they're tired of dealing with like decks and stuff. We toyed the idea with going with decks and whatnot, but when I look at the numbers and the profitability per day, the fences, they're so freaking profitable. Like I keep on looking at the numbers and like we're aiming for like, right now it's low end. Like we just raised our rates to $1,900 per day per crew. But honestly, it's even higher than that, especially when you're running the sub crews and stuff, because that's based off of 2-man teams. These guys are coming in with 3-man. Sometimes we just did an aluminum job. We were making, it was a two-day job. We end up bringing in like $5,900 in the middle of the winter. Like it's absolutely insane. And that's all from my supplier's pricing. Now we do our own aluminum and we're saving another $4 a foot. And that job I think was like $350. So really, I think we added like another $1,400 in profit on top of that. So we were probably clearing like 32-ish a day. It's pretty damn crazy. Like, where can you do that? I've looked like I don't know where you could possibly do that. Like, think of home builders and everywhere else. I guarantee we probably make more than them. And it's fenced. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So that's where I'm at this point. If anyone, again, anyone on here, if you have questions, please ask away. I don't know what else to talk about. That's where we're at. I'm pretty damn excited for this year, like honestly. My wrist is getting better. I've talked about that. Not that it's really business related, but I'm probably going to end up getting surgery on that. Have to get surgery on a compressed nerve, which brings up the point again. If you are still installing what you sell, you are a liability to your company and to your family and everyone else. Oh, let's go with so the guy I met up with yesterday. I just posted a short video about this, but I'll just go into more detail just because I have more time for it. So this guy, and the whole thing relates to, like, are you scared to make decisions for your life, for your business and everything else because you're scared of the unknown, or you're scared of previous, you know, events that have happened in your life. This guy, to briefly go through it, is he's sent, like, we found pallets online. Originally I was going to build them. They were like 50 some dollars a piece, like, for building on my own. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, we don't really buy lumber anymore, so I don't really know, because we do mostly vinyl and aluminum. And it was like 50 some dollars. I'm like, fuck this. So I'm going to go on Facebook. So I found these on Facebook, and they were 5x7 pallets. They ended up working out perfectly because I was able to cut them, one for the pallet and one for the post. So I got 20 pallets, and I end up paying them $200 delivered. But for 20 pallets, for 20 panel pallets, 20 post pallets, $500. Perfect. And they're heavy duty. They'll literally last forever. Like, the runners are made out of 4x4s. So anyway, the guy pulls up in this really nice truck, and I'm like thinking, what the hell are you doing? And a nice trailer, like really nice trailer. I'm like, this is not normal. I was thinking something ghetto that would come up or something like that. And I started talking to him. He was asking about the fencing and stuff like that. I said he did it, and he might start his own business, and he does all this other shit. And then lo and behold, and I don't know how I get this information out of people, but he's got 600 grand in cash saved. He's got 2 rental properties. He doesn't spend any money. He has a bunch of toys. Like he said, I have dirt bikes and all this other kind of shit. But if I go to buy a dirt bike, he's like, I'm the type of person that'll buy 3 dirt bikes and flip 2 of them so it pays for the one I wanted. So he's great with his money. He doesn't buy stupid shit. But if he does, like, he's able to, like, pay for it through all the other shit he does. So long story short, he's got 600 grand cash, 2 rental properties. They're producing 24 grand a year. And he only spends 30 grand a year. Like, that's it for bills, spending money, all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, so you need $6,000 a year is what you're telling me. He's like, yeah. I'm like, and you're scared to quit your job. He's like, yeah, I don't want to tap into my savings. And I'm like, I had to say it to him over several times, because, like, it doesn't, for me, it just doesn't compute in my head. Like, I'm like, dude, you literally have 100 years worth of income right this second, and you're scared to quit your job. So I had to go through it. This is an exercise I talked about in another video, but it's super important. It really does help for people that are stuck for some reason. And there's actually 2 things you can do. Number one, and it's going to sound crazy, but if you're ever scared to do something for whatever reason, right? Or you are in a bad mental state, you have depression, whatever it may be, literally say 3, 2, 1, blast off. Okay. What it's going to do is it's actually going to prime your brain that it knows when you start the countdown 3, 2, 1, that it knows something's coming, and it's easier to do. And when you say blast off, literally just go into action. It works. The other thing that I told him to do, and this is to really see if you're, like, if what you're thinking is true or not, right? And I've talked about this before, but it is very important. So you just need a mirror, a pen, and a piece of paper. And whatever decision that you're trying to make, if you're having trouble doing it, stand in front of the mirror. For him, I told him, like, look in front of the mirror, look at yourself in the mirror and say, on, February 22nd, I am quitting my job at 3:30 p.m. Okay. As soon as you say that, something's going to come up in, like, the back of your mind. It's going to be like, yeah, but, or whatever. There's going to be some kind of excuse. Whatever that excuse is, write it down. And for him, it's like I don't have enough savings, right? Or whatever that answer might be. So then he like you literally work through that. You know, um, is that true or not? Is what I'm telling myself, is that true? Because as soon as you get on paper, then it becomes black and white. It's not like an if or an or. It's like black and white. It's right there for you. So then you'll work through that, and then you'll either see or you won't see that it is a problem, right? And for him, I don't have enough savings, and I need 6 grand a year, and I have $600,000 plus rental properties. That's not true, right? So then the next thing, and like he would do this, and actually I kind of did it with him. And long story short, it was because his parents were completely broke when they retired because they didn't save money like they were supposed to. They didn't have 401k, which he has 300 grand in 401k on top of it. He's got this piece of equipment that's worth 100 grand that he could easily sell, one of those spider lifts that was worth like 15 years worth of income. Like there's so many, like he probably could sit, no lie, probably like, and plus he had a million trailers and he had all this other equipment. Like he probably has like 200 years worth of savings. But anyway, so that's what you just do. You keep on going over and over and over until you finally get down to like whether the shit in your head's true. And most of the time it's not. You know, most of the time I feel like we're more afraid of the unknown than what's actually happening. I just do. So that's my thoughts on the whole thing. Trying to think what else. It is getting warmer out. I'm super excited. Summer's close. Looking forward to surfing. Um, but I've only been able to do that because I've been able to grow my business. So you kind of have to pick and choose what you want from your life. But again, if you are installing what you sell, you're a liability to yourself, to your family, to your business, and all your employees if you have any employees as well. You're just a liability because as soon as you get hurt or sick or whatever else, I just saw a post like someone had COVID and then like it showed up a few weeks later and he's basically back in bed and everything else. And he's put in a post on Facebook because I guess he's telling all his customers as well. Like, what do you do? Like, what do you do? That's scary. That's very scary. Especially because if you're more than likely installing everything yourself, like you're probably barely making enough money, so you don't have the savings, so you don't have any cushion, and then you don't have any business, and then they start going somewhere else. Then you get all the bad word of mouth and the bad reviews and everything else, and then it's one big nightmare. It's scary. It's very scary to think about. But anyway, um, trying to think what else. Wish someone would type some issue they're having with their business. This would make things so much easier. Or if you are now, you can't see it. Like that could be it too. I don't know. I still see the discounts. People put in like 10% off. We literally just increased their prices again. I don't understand discounts. The problem is the leads, and I've talked about it in other, but it's I don't know. It doesn't really matter. It's all the same shit. Like it is. 4 things for your business. Number one, you need leads. If you don't have enough leads, you got to go get them. That's through Google My Business, SEO. Like, that's simple. There's videos on my YouTube channel that teach you how to do this shit. There's also the audit. So if you go to localprohelper.com/audit, that's where you can do an audit for $97. I'll basically tell you what's wrong with your listing, your website, that kind of thing. And then you basically, you can do the edit yourself. You can hire me to do it, or you can use your SEO company. But just warning you, if you already have an SEO company, I'm probably going to tell you they suck because that's usually what I find out. And it's not for me to basically sell you something because anyone that's been on a call with me, I will probably talk you out of buying stuff from me. That's a personal thing I go through. So number one is leads. Number two is to sell your jobs, which we were falling behind on. That's why I hired a sales trainer. Number three is producing the jobs. Most people, when you're installing the jobs if you're installing what you sell, then you can't, you have to be as efficient as you possibly can. That's where we're able to make so much money. It's simple. And the last thing is you need to know your numbers, right? You need to know if you're profitable or not. There's, again, I don't know where I have the links, but I'll put that somewhere. I guess I should put that in the notes going forward. But there's a link that basically, it's a Linktree link that has like 5 different things on there. But the one is like a document with all these helpful tools in there. So if you're a fence company, has like fence calculators and GPS program and a survey program, and then also has the spreadsheet, the job tracking sheet that basically has you work backwards so you figure out how much you have to make per day. People talk about the gross profit and margin, all this shit. It doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't matter. It matters how much you need to make per day. Because if you need, again, like if you need 520 grand a year for your business and for your personal life, well, that means you need 10 grand a week, which means you need to make 2 grand a day. Well, if you pricing your jobs out and there's a basically before and an after, there's a projected and an actual column, right? So you put in like before you send the quote to the customer, you put the numbers in there. And if it turns green, well, then you can send it to the customer because you're making enough money. If it turns red, you're not charging enough. So you need to go raise your prices. Okay, it's simple. Then when you're done, you're gonna go put in numbers afterwards. Like so, and this is thing's easy. It doesn't take any time. Like it's so simple, but people don't use it. Like it doesn't compute with me. All you need to know is your total price, your materials, your labor, and the number of days. That's it. That's all you have to enter into this thing. It'll literally take you 2 minutes per job, but no one does it. And then people are like, I'm broke. So anyway, you do that for the before, and then you actually do the same thing. Well, if you put in, you projected 2 days, but it really took you 3 days, well, it's going to show up as red because you screwed up somewhere, right? In that case, you screwed up there. If the materials, you originally thought they were 5,000, but because of COVID and everything else, they were $5,500. Well, it's going to show up in red because you screwed up there. And what it's going to do is after you put in a few jobs, you're going to see where the red is. Is the red in the material column? Is the red in the labor column? Is the red in the number of days column? Well, if it's a majority in one of the columns, you just have to fix it. Most of the time, especially when you're starting out and you're taking on all these random jobs, like when you have the like when you used to work like I did, where it was like, if the customer has money, we would do the job. Now it's like if the customer has money and they want what we, give, then we're going to do the job for them, right? What happens is when you're doing a bunch of random jobs, you're like, oh, it's going to take 2 days. No, it takes like 5 because of some stupid shit comes up. You don't know what you're doing. You're watching YouTube videos to figure out what the hell is doing. Not to mention you're spending all your time trying to figure out how to price the job. And then you spend all your time going to Lowe's and Home Depot or Menards or whatever the hell is in your area. It just doesn't work out. Pick one thing and get really good at it. Like I keep on struggling with this with myself. Like I keep on going back and forth. And I'm like, should I keep on doing this channel? Like at this point, I feel like I am talking to the wrong crowd, because they want to be stuck in just digging holes for the rest of their lives. It's just the way I feel. But then it's like there's a few select people that I talk to, and I'm like, they really understand it. And I feel like if I stop doing these videos, then it's like I'm gonna like not provide the value. But I think at this point, the main focus is my not I think my main focus is my fence company, because it's a cash cow. Like it literally just prints money at this point. And but once we get to 4 million and 6 and 8 million, like Jesus. Like it's crazy. Like I can't believe I didn't do this sooner. Like I just can't. So I'm not looking to really monetize out of this channel. Before I was trying to do all this coaching and I was doing all this crap. Like at this point, I don't have the time. And it's also I think about this crap in like December and January when we're super slow, and then it starts getting busy. And now I hired like 3 VAs. We're reworking the entire process of the company so that it's more viable for the future growth and everything else. So I just don't have the time for this stuff. But at the end of the day, like I will continue to do the videos if I think of something while I have like 8 videos on my phone. I just got to upload them. But every time I try to upload them, like it just doesn't. It takes forever, and I'm like, screw this. So I'll just start giving this to my social media person. I'm like, here, go do this. So you might actually see more shit from me just because I don't have to do anything. So that's where I'm kind of at. But yeah, use a spreadsheet. Like it's very simple. It's a different way of thinking about business. Especially because I look at our numbers, and if we just solely went by profit percent, I'd be like, suck. Like lately, we've been hovering around the 32% profit range, but we made $28,000 last week. That's nuts. I didn't need like 10 and 12 to break even. Like that was a nice damn week. And this week it's already Monday and we have 6 grand in. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. So, don't let other people tell you that the way you're running your business is wrong, unless basically if you're working all the time and you have no money, chances are you are running your business wrong. Just saying. But if you're working the hours you want, if you're making the money you want, then like you're doing you. Like and you're happy. Like at the end of the day, we just need to be happy, right? So If you're happy with your life, happy with everything, you're able to spend your time with your family and everything else, then life is good. But if you aren't able to spend the time with your family, or you're lacking in some sort of way, like, there's better ways of doing the business. Especially most people that watch this are from the fence industry. Um, I feel like I have this nailed down. There's people like Joe Everest. There's people like Mark Olson, Sean King. I know they're light years ahead of me. I just know it, but I don't know. I think I found the easiest way. I don't know. I'm always open for suggestions. So if you think there's a better way, please let me know. But at this point, I found like what that works for me, and it comes from more of a internet marketing side of things. That's where it's really coming from. Because I'm not a fence guy. I just happen to do fences. You know, I tell people now it's like we own a marketing company that just happens to install fences. Because that's all it is. It's, you listen to Gary V, like Gary Vaynerchuk, stuff like that. The main thing that you need to do for your business is get attention. Like, that's all it is. So that's what we're doing. Before, that's what I did with like all the advertising. Like, we need to get everyone to know us. Well, because of like the work with Google My Business and stuff like that, when we're getting literally thousands and thousands of leads a year, I have the attention that way. Now it's doing more of the providing value. Again, I'm super excited about these the boxes and everything else. The Yeti mugs were a nice touch when we started small. So the way we started was just regular coffee mugs, and they were nice. They were tall coffee mugs. They were 16 ounces, gloss black, and it had our logo on it, which was pretty nice. People liked them, and we put like chocolate and shit in them, so they liked them. But then, like, it would be in the summertime, the chocolates would start getting melted and stuff like that. So that wasn't great. Plus, there were those Lindt chocolates, the round balls, the truffles. Good. Anyway, so then we went through that, and then now we went to the Yeti mugs, and then, like I said, then we're going to be going into more custom for like the kids and the dogs and stuff like that. So I'm excited. I really am. I think people are going to love it. And then the next step, like I said, because we had the tape, so it's just all about presentation. My wife's grandfather drilled that into my head. He was a cook, and he would always say presentation is everything. Like, it doesn't matter how good it is, if it looks like shit, it's going to taste like shit, right? So that's why we started with the regular boxes. I started taping them. Like, that stuff doesn't look as nice as it could be. And then I saw an ad and I ended up getting that. And it's dirt cheap. Like, it's so cheap. All said and done for the Yeti mug, the shipping, because we're mailing them things out now, and the box and everything, it's like under $50. It's like $48, something like that. But I started looking at the pricing. It's $8 for like a Yeti mug, or I can ship up to 10 pounds for like $10, right? So I just got to get more boxes. I'll get bigger boxes. We might do t-shirts, stuff like that. But I'm trying to think of shit that people would actually enjoy, what they would use for their dogs. Because at the end of the day, stuff for them is nice, but the crap that not the crap, but the stuff you give for the people they love the most, which is typically their dogs and their kids, that's going to be so much more valuable to them. So that's what we'll probably end up doing. Or the other thing, we might do the kid stuff, but they also have the little Yeti mugs are like 25 a piece. So we might do one, one big, one little, something like that. We just got them for my daughter. She likes them. My son has the flip top one. So we might do something like that. I'm not quite sure. But I really do like the idea of that frisbee game. If you weren't on there, the whole, have the base, and then it's got the PVC pipe, and then you put the water bottle on top, and you try to throw it back and forth, hit it off. I really like that, just for the simple reason that we're not even giving them stuff, we're giving them an experience, which is even more important. So I'm super excited, like super excited. So, and I might get my son involved, and maybe we'll start doing it. He's 10 years old, and so maybe we'll do something like that. And that's where we're kind of at. So I got like 2 minutes left, and then I'm out of here, just because my son's almost done. It's nice that the sun actually just started setting now. So, whoever's still on here, you're awesome. It's been like the entire time, or you probably just left and it's still going. But it's all right. I'm used to talking to myself. I don't really have anything else. I can't think of any. I'm sure something will pop up. Oh, discounts. Let's go to that. The reason I started on this, but then I stopped. So the reason why you're discounting is because you don't have enough leads. I keep on hearing it more and more that Like people are lowballing the shit out of each other. Like it just happens, right? And the only time you care about that is when you don't have enough leads. Let's be honest. If you got a shit ton of leads, it's summertime and everything else, and if you're like us, like, can you imagine getting 50 and 80 phone calls a day? Like most people just listen while driving, Joe. Oh, you are welcome. Yeah, I'm never sure who's watching, so it's always like just talking to myself. But as far as the, if you're in peak season, you have enough leads coming in, you got enough jobs and everything else, and people are lowballing, you don't care. But I see these posts constantly, especially this time of year, is because people that were booking all their jobs up until like December, and then it really started slowing down in January and especially in February. Well, except for us when we hit these crazy numbers, which is just, I'm super excited for this year. Um, it's because you don't have enough leads. Like it's simple. Like my specialty at this point, it's leads, and I'm not trying to sell you anything. It's really Google My Business and SEO. Like that's all it is. And it's like anything else. Like like everything we think is really difficult. Like I was never into cars except for now. When I got my Pontiac G8, I started going to the forums and everything else. So then I learned how to end up changing all the rotors, and I changed all the factory brakes to the they had like the Brembo kit from, I got it for cheap. Like I think I literally replaced all my um everything, all the parts of the brakes for like $1,000, right? And I was never a car guy. I never thought I could do it. But like when you start doing this shit, it's very simple. It's very, very basic stuff, right? It's the same thing for Google My Business and SEO. It's the way to think about this stuff is signals, right? We're trying to give Google as many signals as we possibly can, saying, show us before anyone else. Okay. And so what happens is Google My Business, it's simple. Like it's literally posting constantly. And Google tells you this. Update your profile. Make sure your hours are updated. Make sure that you go in and adjust your the holiday hours and the days that you're gonna be off. Like put in for, the Christmas off, Thanksgiving, like whatever days you take off, put that stuff in there. Make sure you're posting photos constantly at the minimum. I have not watched those videos. They're on my list. Okay. It's simple. Like you just put the pictures, you post them consistently. If you're using things like Company Cam, there's no reason why you're not posting videos, okay, or pictures. Videos are nice too, but just make sure you geotag those suckers, and then you also keyword them. So you basically do everything from your desktop, and instead of just uploading the photo with nothing, because it's usually like a date format, it's going to be fence company near whatever town that photo was taken in. If you're using Company Cam, it's already geocoded. If you're not using Company Cam, chances are it's not geocoded, which then you're going to use the website that I list in the thing. It's like goimgr.com. And then what you do is or even if they are on Company Cam, if you want to show up in a certain location, like if you're having trouble, or there's this area that you really want to get into because it's high income and everything else, you can go in and change all the geocode so it shows up there. And then all the things are like vinyl fence company near Haddonfield, New Jersey, cedar fence company near Haddonfield, New Jersey. Then you can actually go in and do the tags and stuff within the pictures, everything else. It's simple. Then the poster, the same thing. Like, hey, you take all those same pictures, from an install, like take the befores, take the afters, and put them all into a post. And it's like, hey, this is a fence we just installed in Haddonfield, New Jersey. Do you need a fence in Haddonfield, New Jersey, or the surrounding South Jersey area? Like, call us. And you just put, like, that's all you do. So it's all these signals. You got these pictures, you got these words, signals telling Google to show me. It's simple. Like it's really simple. But the thing is, comes down to consistency. I'm realizing that more and more. That's like my word of the year is just consistently. As long as you consistently do what you need to do, like you're going to grow so much quicker than you ever imagined. But the problem is in the beginning, and talked about this in Atomic Habits. If you haven't listened to that book, it's amazing. But the main thing to just realize from that book, it tells you how to like create habits and stuff like that, how to make it easy. But the main thing to think about is 1% better every day for a year is not like 300% better. It's 3,700% better. You're literally 37 times better than you at the end of the year than you are when you first started, right? So what happens is you have these little, you can't even really see me, but you have these little, like in the beginning for like the first 3, 6 months, it's very small gradual growth. But because that it keeps on compounding and compounding and compounding, it's no more like 1% better. Like you're going to start getting like 5% better, 10% better, 15% better, like rapidly. So, the first 3, 4 months are going to suck. You're not going to see any experience, anything from it. But then after the 4 month mark, that's where the exponential growth starts kicking in. And as long as you stay consistent, like I said, for my fence company, like I went from, I keep on looking, I'm just dumb for not, like, I kept on looking for that shiny object. If I could say for anyone else, don't chase the shiny objects, just keep on doing what you're doing. If you own a fence company, don't do anything else. Do not add any products, do not add any services, do not add anything until you're at least like 5 million sales, because like you haven't, more than likely you have not tapped the market. Even if your place, like your area is small, I guarantee you will probably get 3 to 5 million out of it. Like it's just there. Like I've left so much money on the table. Literally every like it's 25% net profit for me. So every million that I haven't done, that's $250,000. Last year, if I would have had the sales and everything that I was supposed to do, easily could have been 4 million. Easily, especially with COVID and everything else, with the free money that everyone's giving out, it's just ridiculous. So, I fully expect by the end of this year, 4 million, the next year, 6, the next year, 8. It's a shit ton of money. It's like I want to move to either Florida, Puerto Rico, or Hawaii. And probably at this point, I'll be able to buy a house in a year. And it's not to brag, but it's to show you what's possible. Because a lot of times we don't know because we don't know what's possible, we are, you're never going to get there. But if you see some guy that doesn't even know how to install a fence practically, and then, then we get to, 4, 6, 8, $10 million, like then you see that it's possible for yourself. So anyway, my son's here. Have a great night, and see you later.